Let's take a moment and talk about photographing waterfalls. I love doing waterfalls. They're a part of nature that's really great to photograph. And there's just so many beautiful effects you can get when you use the proper equipment and techniques when you are photographing waterfalls. Obviously, one of the things you need are a camera. You need a good tripod so you can keep things steady. And something else you're going to need that I would suggest, a couple of things that are going to really help, are an ND or neutral density filter and a polarizing filter. Now the reason you want these two items is, I'm going to sort of explain it now why. The shot you're seeing right here was shot at about a 50th of a second, and I was not using the ND filter and the polarizing filter. And as you can see, when I shot it, it's almost the same effect as when you have a flash, that the water, everything is pretty well frozen in time, and it's not the effect I was looking for. But by using the ND filter and the polarizing filter, what that would do is that in effect changed my shutter speed. I kept my aperture as small as possible, but when I put the shutter speed, when I put the filter and the polarizing filter on it, what happened is now you can see what the shot looks like, because what it did, it in effect changed my shutter speed from a 50th of a second to 1.2 seconds. It almost doubled the amount of time that the shutter was open. And with having the tripod, having everything nice and steady, that long shutter speed gets that beautiful silky effect to the water, which is exactly what I was looking for. So again, the way you're going to get these effects is you want to have, first of all, a very slow shutter speed with the camera. You want it about a half second or slower for it to work. Now, the ways these are going to happen, these effects are going to happen, is, as I talked about, putting the two filters combined in front of your lens. That's certainly going to reduce the amount of light getting into the camera. Other things that would help is you want to shoot this earlier in the morning if you can, when the light is not as intense. Shoot it in the evening, obviously the opposite of shooting in the morning. If you can shoot on a cloudy day, that will make a difference as well. Less light getting into the waterfall. And also if the waterfall happens to be in the shade. All of these factors are going to contribute to having a nice slow shutter speed to get this beautiful movement of the water. You also want to set your camera for the lowest ISO you can as well, so again, less light is getting in. And set your aperture as high as you can at f16 or f22, so that all these things combine to give you a nice slow shutter speed. And that's what makes all the difference in the world in getting a shot like this. Now, even if when you're doing a waterfall, obviously the water has to go somewhere, and it's usually flowing with a stream down below the waterfall. And that's what happened here, and I can show you the same effect that happens. This shot was taken, no filters on the camera, and it was shot at about a 40th of a second. And as you can see, everything is pretty well frozen. There's a bit of a movement to the water, but not a lot, because again, a fair amount of light was getting in through the camera. The minute I put on the filters, the two filters, and added those, you can see that my shutter time, my exposure time, went to almost 1.5 seconds. And I know it's kind of hard to see in the video, but what's going on here is that beautiful long exposure and that nice smooth silky effect of the water, which is exactly what I was looking for. So when you are out filming either waterfalls themselves or rivers or streams, and you want to get that nice motion effect in it, go for the slowest shutter speed possible. So that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed that. We have other videos you can go look at on our site at www.photography.help.com. I hope you enjoyed this, and happy shooting.